Without Trice, he was there in the first meeting. You guys were pretty up and down the court in that battle. Does that change the tempo for you guys? And do you think that Denzel can handle that up and down nature?
Well, the two things is, they've got 2 point guards they bring in, and they've got 3 or 4 other guards that they bring in. They're all athletic, and I said all along that I thought Indiana by far has the best depth. They've developed that depth, and I think with 2 point guards in there playing a lot, it reminds me of our Final Four team with Walton and Lucas. So that's always a help, and I think Denzel can handle some things, but it's a lot harder to handle things when you got 2 quick, small point guards. And that's where Trice, everybody talks about what he would do offensively. I think Trice would help us defensively in some of those things. But it is what it is, and it'll be what it'll be. And we're going to have to find a way to win a game without him. And Keith, at least Keith, I said at the beginning of the year, he's the best conditioned guy that I think we've had since Charlie Bell, and that's 10, 12 years. So, he is a phenomenally conditioned athlete that can go and go and go. But, we have those stupid things called fouls in our league that create some problems too. I heard somebody the other day, was it Bill Raftery or somebody talking about adding 6 fouls to college basketball, and I second that, But Denzel will handle his. He's handled it better. He's gotten better each and every game too, and we'll see how he does. But he's going to have to.
Tom, you said Indiana's playing kind of like none other, but your team went in there and lost by 5, playing without its point guard for most of the game. What did you take away from that game? Was that a learning experience for you, looking back on the ceiling of this team or what it's capable of?
Well, when we say that, it's true, but Payne and Harris had incredible games the other way, so it all balances out. Would I have liked to have Appling? Sure, I would have, Trice did some real good things, and he had 5 assists and 5 turnovers, so he did some good things and bad things, but I'd like to have all of them, and yet what I learned from that game is we can compete with anybody, because Indiana played pretty well too, but you make a couple mistakes, like a couple of those goofy turnovers that led to dunks, or we were watching last night and going under a screen we were supposed to go over, and Halls hits a 3, go under a screen we were supposed to go over, and Oladipo hits a 3, So there's that, but I look at what I've learned is Sheehy and Watford are playing at a much higher level now than they were playing back then too. So hopefully we're all playing better, and it's every bit as good a game with a different outcome. That would be my dream.
Tom, you talked about finally being able to get 5 guys scoring in double figures. When you look at Indiana, is this maybe the one team that mirrors you in that way, just with their starting 5 and how many guys do similar things to your 5, and maybe it's the best 2 starting 5s going head to head?
Yeah, I think they're a little better offensively. And I don't know, I guess maybe I'd say we could be a little better defensively. I think the one thing we have is starting to bode well for us is our 1 and 2 men right now, I think, are the best defensive guard tandem in the league. There's some good guards and there's some good defensive guards, but I think with Gary and Keith, we have the best starting 1-2 men defensively in the league. But I think they're a little better offensively in some ways, and yet I like the fact, our 2 bigs, that inside-outside, you saw it at Nebraska. We really took advantage of some things there. I did not think we took advantage enough down there of what we have. So their depth is definitely a factor, and we're one depthless, with him. But their depth is definitely why they've been able to maintain the offensive running that they do. And I think defensive pressure when you bring a Bell in and Creek in, and you can just bring some guys and you say, well, it's 7, 8, 10 minutes. 7, 8, 10 minutes is a lot. You know, the only one that didn't think that is a guy who left here playing 17, you know, but that really is a lot, and it can be very valuable to a team, to be honest with you.
Tom, you talk about this being an opportunity for another signature moment for this program, but playing against Indiana was also one of your lowest moments when it looked like they had more fans in the stands here than there were Michigan State fans, and Tom was also on the bench at that time. Does it give you more appreciation for the irony of how this thing's come around?
You know, Grins, I never thought about that, but that is some irony in that. That was my lowest moment as a coach, as far as in figuring out how can you build a program. Not necessarily in a game we lost, but how can you build a program? And I'll still remember that hallway talk with Ioni and Hollis, and what I said to Tom Crean. I mean, he'll probably remember it all, you know, because we were incensed by it in a way, and that is part of the irony, I guess, that I'd be willing to bet, and don't know, but I'd be willing to bet this maybe could be the greatest crowd ever at this place when you look at it, and just because of all the fall all around everything, the excitement, the kind of team we have, the kind of team they have. I mean, it's made for TV, it's made for the newspapers, made for books. I mean, this is one of those reasons that, well, am I glad I'm in college? I'm glad I'm here, because I get an opportunity to do that. If our players feel the same way, and I'm sure their players do, it just could be so much irony to everything. And I might remind Tom that we don't allow as many Indiana fans in as we used to back in the day.
Got time for a couple more.
Coach, I remember a note from Indiana they put out that Indiana held Michigan State without a free throw in the second half. What do you got to do to get to the line more against this team?
I got to get Uncle Frank and brother Jesse to do a better job calling them, probably. But you know, we haven't done as good a job. It's one thing we talk to our bigs about. You know, everybody talks about what Zeller doesn't do. You know, and people are mad he's not more physical, he's not more this. You know, when you get to the free throw line 8-9 times a game, you're doing something, and you're doing it pretty physical. And so I would say in some ways we have to do a better job of taking it to them, not falling away and shooting those kind of shots. And I think we got to be more aggressive with the ball. But having Keith out of there hurts that too, you know, because he is the more aggressive guy in penetrating, gets to the free throw line, puts people in a position where they can get to the free throw line. So maybe they did hold us. Maybe we self-checked ourselves too, you know, and maybe a combination of both. So we can't. They lead the world, I think, in free throws taken in a game. I mean, we played them down there. They were on 30. I think they're 29 now or something, which is unbelievable. And I think it shows their aggressive approach with multiple ball handlers and why they do a good job of that. And so we got to do a good job ourselves in getting there. And I think they did do a good job holding us. I think we did a good job holding us, and the combination was catastrophic not to get to the line the second half.
Tom, I know Keith has put a lot on himself for that last game there in his performance. But
He should have.
No, you mentioned earlier horses that you can ride. Is he becoming that in a way for him? I mean, I'm not saying he's Mateen Cleaves yet, but just as a guy you look to the team.
Well, I do. I look to him on both ends too. You know, I think he, like I said, Mateen was a great defender, and Trav was a great defender, and Charlie. But you know, this kid doesn't have to take a back seat to any of those guys defensively. I mean, he's probably the most athletic of the bunch, but it matters to him. He practices it every day, and he's getting a little more confident now. He's using ball screens better. You know, it was a shame. He had some good shots in the last game, and he missed them, but he's getting better at that. I feel very comfortable with him hitting threes, shooting the ball, even though he's missed some. He's a guy I'd love to have on the line at the end of games, even though he's missed a free throw here and there. Yeah, he's a horse I can ride, and what I love about him is he does have the toughness. And you know what? He's been through a little adversity, and I think that any guy that has is usually a better player. You know, you look at Oladipo, for example. You know, after his freshman year, I mean, he was no shoe-in to be at Indiana, much less be a star at Indiana, you know. And look what he's done. And I think anytime guys go through some adversity, it makes you a better person. And Keith Appling right now he's getting better each day. I think he's starting to understand how valuable certain things are that he didn't think were valuable, and doing a better job. He's got his little iPad, watching film. He's doing a better job of that. It's kind of exciting.
Jack and then Joe.
Tom, knowing how competitive Crane is, when he won one Big Ten game the first year with all those walk-ons, what do you remember about those conversations, and what did you tell him?
Well, I mean, you know, if you remember, was it the first year or second year we played down there, and they played us pretty well. And, you know, I talked to him. I went over to see his house that day, and don't normally do that on game day, but I think he felt they were so bad he didn't mind asking me. And I almost thought they were, so I didn't mind going. And that was almost a big mistake, you know. But he's always had his team competing. You know, when they weren't very good, they played a lot of people well or played hard. And, you know, sure you have those conversations like, what am I doing, or what did I do, or did I make a mistake, or, you know. And I told him from the day he called me, or they called me about him for the job, that it was a no-brainer to me, you know. And there was nothing against Marquette and everything else, but I just thought it was the right job for him. He's still a Midwest guy. You know, even his brother-in-law had worked there some. It was just a no-brainer. And, you know, and I think like all of us, you know, you kind of wonder. I mean, I never left a great job to get this job, so it wasn't the same for me as it was for him. He was already winning, and he had to take, you know, 4 steps backwards, but now he's made up and then some, because he's got a chance here to build a program that I think, you know, would be as good as any in the country.
I'll sneak a couple in real quick. Are you stunned when you think of the fact that Indiana has not won here since 1991? I mean, you talk about all the history in this game, but 17 straight losses here, haven't won here since 1991.
Yeah, no, I'm not stunned at all. I was about to ask if you were on drugs or Dilaco or something, but really. I don't know. I mean, hell of a lot of teams have beaten us in that time here. I mean, not everybody's beaten. I mean, Northwestern, Penn State, they all got us. You know, I don't know. That's a strange event that's happened, I guess. The only thing I can say is I hope it doesn't change. But I'm kind of shocked by that. You got me speechless, Joe. So
sorry, I got another one. You're talking about depth. Obviously, Costello is going to help you. Are you feeling like he's now someone who helps at least you stay big and he can come and give you a few minutes? And in this game, could he be key for a little bit of defense on Zeller for a couple stints?
Well, I don't want to sound like a broken record, which I normally do, especially when you've been in the same place a long time, but I remember me talking so much to you guys early about what a poor job I was doing with our rotation, and I vowed I was going to do better, and then I did better for a little bit, and then all of a sudden everything went to hell again. We still have no rotation. You know, we substitute by necessity, it seems like, whether it's fatigue or fouls. And I think Nix could be a much better player if I subbed the way I subbed 90% of my career here. And that's had a plan down, and before a guy got dead tired, I got him in and got him out. And that's one of the things we've been talking as a staff. If we could do a better job of that and getting a little more trust in some guys, that may happen, you know, now. And yet it's been a funny year, because when we started to do it, then all of a sudden we lose a player at Christmas. We started to do it, then we get another player hurt. And so it's been a ragtag way of doing it, but we've ham and egged our way through. But I think if we want to try to take one more step, getting some consistency with a Costello or even a Ghana, but getting some consistency. I thought Costello in the last game, he blocked some shots. You know, he jumps pretty good, but you know, when he goes to dunk, I tell him it takes him a week and a half. But yet he's got great timing on a block shot. You know, it doesn't make sense. But that's why he's a freshman. He's trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure him out. We're all trying to figure each other out. But I know one thing I don't have to figure out. The guy got a heart about this big. He's got incredible intelligence, and he's tough as nails. And those are good qualities to have for a guy who's trying to get better. And what I think was going to surprise people is he really shoots the ball pretty well, too. And so his future here, in my estimation, is going to be extremely bright. And that's one of the things, you know, we get to talk about everybody else's freshmen. My 3 freshmen have done a pretty damn good job and are getting better every day. And I think that's going to bode well for us down the stretch.
Thanks, guys.
That's it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.